This is our AR-15. We're going to be changing out the stock trigger with a Geissele SSA-E super semi-automatic enhanced trigger. Kind of the gold standard, give or take. It's a nice medium between a heavier one and like more of a competition one. So we're going to go ahead and install this one. So first we need to take this out. Then I'll show you how to install the new one. First step is going to be separate the lower from the upper. Obviously the first step is, clear the weapon, but I'm going to assume that you're smart enough to do that on your own. Let's get to it. For me, I'm going to remove this bad lever here. It's just going to give us a little bit more room to work with. Obviously, you could still access this pin behind it, but it's going to make it a little bit easier. So I've already loosened that, so we could take that apart, set those pieces aside, so we can put that back easily. If your trigger is still cocked back, now to depress it, you want to put your thumb in front of there, and then you can go ahead and pull the trigger and slowly lower it. You don't want to damage anything by flinging that bad boy up. Now we've got access up to the top here. Okay, so we're going to take out 2 pins here. We're going to do this front one first and then this back one here. Now a punch is going to be the best, but I don't have that. So I'm just going to use a little Allen wrench, put it on top, and then kind of pop it through. That's going to be under spring tension. Okay, you'll notice this is going to be pretty tight, but you can get it out. You'll need to come all the way up to the front and then swing it back around, and that trigger will lift out. So again, you can do that without taking this safety function out. Okay, so now we've got the old one out. We're going to go ahead and set aside all of those pins so we don't get anything mixed up with that one. I'd recommend keeping this just in one of the bags. That's something, just a little bag just in case you ever need to replace that trigger. Now we've just got an empty frame here. Let's get ready to go with the other one. Okay, this new trigger is going to come in 3 parts. You have a slave pin. This is for installation help. You have the trigger and the hammer. So we're going to go ahead and start with the trigger itself. So we're going to go ahead and take this slave pin, and you're just going to push it through here. You should be able to do this just by hand. You don't really need a punch. And just slide that through, and that lets the actual pin come out. Now you'll notice that there's 2 grooves on this pin. We are going to insert it the smooth side first, just to make it a little bit easier. Okay, so we can go ahead and drop our trigger in there. Oh, need to move that slave pin over just a bit more. There we go. Now this one's going to be a little bit skinnier, so you can just drop it straight in. It's not as long, I should say, so it doesn't need to go underneath that safety nearly as much. Okay, and then once you push it down through, then you could see there's that slave pin. So still keeping it aligned, we're going to go ahead and throw that smooth side in first. There we go. And I'll pop that the rest of the way. Okay, nice and flush. All right, that is installed. We're good to go there. The first thing we'll do with the hammer is pull this pin out. I need a little bit of help with this little Allen wrench tool. Keep going with that. There we go. Okay, so we got that out. And then the next thing is going to be the orientation of where this little hook goes on the spring. You'll want it to tuck underneath, and then to install, we'll keep springing those around. Make sure that you don't install it on the back side here. It needs to be tucked up underneath, so it gives it the most tension there. Now to install, you're going to put these two legs. They're going to go over here on the right. And then this is going to come underneath, and there is some tension there. But there you can see that's where the holes line up. I'm going to pull that out just for a second. And then for this, again, the same thing. You've got two ridges, one in the middle, one on the right. And I'm going to install the smooth side first just to make it as easy as possible for me. So we'll go ahead and make sure that's still on there on the outside. Now we'll go ahead and drop that. See, it's almost lined up there. Just flip this lower so you can see that we're not quite there. And then if we push this down, here we go, that lines it up. And we'll just use this handy dandy screwdriver to pop that pin through. There we go. Perfect. Okay, those are flush. So the next thing we need to do is to do a function check. So we're going to go ahead and cock the hammer. Again, with your thumb in front of it, you pull the trigger. That trigger's nice. Cock it again. Oh wow, that is gorgeous. Now what we're going to do is check the safety feature. So if we cock it, we'll go ahead and put it in safety, make sure that nothing happens there, put it in fire, and it breaks. The last step is going to be lubrication. So it does come with some instructions on where to lubricate. Essentially what we're going to be doing is any of the points of contact. So for the hammer, we're going to do it on the back side of the hammer. So this tip part here, and then up underneath as well, right there. And then we're going to do on both sides of the spring in here for the hammer. And then on the trigger, there's a few more points of lubrication. So it's going to be the same thing. The springs on the very side where that pin comes through. And then you're going to go the contact back here, right there. And then that piece and that piece. So we'll go ahead and lubricate that up. And it comes with some of this. So we're just going to do a drop in each of those locations. Okay, and there you have it. That is the Geissele SSA-E install. Again, that is smooth as butter. One of the best upgrades you could probably make for your rifle. Yeah, that brake is impeccable.